My name is Love, but going the way life has treated me, I have not had a good experience with love. Well, this is my story. 8 years ago, I was living in the village with my mother when my sister came with her friend from the city with the purpose of taking me to the city with them to work at her friend's house as a maid and continue my schooling there. I was getting ready to write my SS3 exam when this happened. My mom gave it a fair thought and felt it was a good idea because she would be relieved of my school expenses. So I followed my sister and her friend to the city. I was so excited and thrilled, but I was really sad to leave my mom behind. Madam Miyaba was very nice to me and she took care of me like her own daughter. She had a very lovely family consisting of her husband and two sons, Michael and Martin. Madam Miyabo and her husband, Mr. Adewale, always travels, and I am left alone to cater for myself and the children, although sometimes their relations come around to care for us too. I passed my WAEC exams with flying colors, and I was waiting to get admitted into my choice university. One fateful day, I fell seriously sick, and I was taken to the hospital with mind that it was just minor malaria. On getting there, the test results showed that I was pregnant. Madam Iyabo was horrified. She questioned me and asked me who I slept with, but I couldn't tell her because I didn't know. I was a virgin. My situation from that moment spiraled out of control. Not that it was mine to control anyway. Few weeks later, I was sent back to the village to stay with my mother since I couldn't point out the father of my child. My sister came to the village to ask me who the father of my child was. I kept telling her I didn't know. My sister promised to see me through the university after I gave birth, and she kept that promise. Over the years, I've experienced different kinds of situations in my relationships. I have experienced a cheating boyfriend, a married man wanting to make me his second wife, and many more. Some see me as a temporary pleasure giver. Even with all these situations, I still persisted because I believed there is love out there for me, but it became overwhelming. Currently, I'm about to give my last shot at love, but it seems this shot won't hit its target because my 35-year-old boyfriend has refused to pop the question, saying he's too young to be married, although I know that's all a lie. We rarely go on dates or visit each other because he claims he is always busy, but he always has time for his friend Jake. I've decided to take things a day at a time because I know this is a failed relationship. Well, thank God for the little wins because even though I became a single mom at 18, I have a well paying job. Today is the anniversary of the company I'm working for, and I was also promoted today. I am now the personal assistant to the CEO of the company. It's a fresh start for me, and I am to resume tomorrow. On getting to work this morning, I saw a gift on my table. I thought my boyfriend has finally come to his senses, but when I saw the name written on the letter that came with the gift, I discovered it was from my boss. I entered into his office to thank him, but he gave me a cold response. Instead, he gave me instructions on my duties as his PA. Weeks passed, and my boss kept sending me gifts. It was odd for me because we hardly talk or relate. I asked him the reason for the gifts, but he told me that they are rewards for my hard work. I decided to reciprocate and also start giving him gifts too. My job became more demanding, and the communication level between me and my boyfriend reduced. On my day off, I decided to pay him a surprise visit. I got there and I knocked, but the music was too loud, so I let myself in. I found two male shirts on the parlor chair. One belonged to my boyfriend, and the other wasn't familiar. I moved further into his room. Lo and behold, I saw him in bed with his friend Jake. As painful as it was, I found it very amusing because Jake has been there all along. I didn't wait for an explanation before leaving his house. I got home and I didn't know how to process what I just saw. My work day flew by quickly and I went to work. When it was time for lunch, my boss came to me and told me he noticed I wasn't in a good mood that day. I tried telling him it's nothing, but he insisted to take me for lunch. During lunch, we got talking, and I opened up about how my day off went. He held my gaze and told me that my boyfriend doesn't deserve me, and he doesn't know my worth. After that day, my boss and I became close, and he was nicer to me. One day, I lost track of time, and I slept off in my office. By the time I woke up, I sensed someone in the room. I was startled to see my boss sitting on the couch in my office. I became frantic and began to apologize, but he brushed it off and asked me if I was okay. He told me to pack up my stuff, that he would drop me at my house. On the way home, he suddenly parked the car. I asked him what was wrong, and he confessed his feelings for me. I told him to give me time to process, which he agreed to. We drove to my house in silence. I couldn't sleep all night because I had also been developing feelings for him. My major concern was how to tell him about my son Jaden. Immediately the thoughts of my son came to me. I received a call from my mother asking me how I am doing and when I will be visiting her. I decided that I will spend my next 1 week break with my mom. I asked how my Jaden was doing and told her I'll be visiting soon. When I got to work the next day, I went to my boss's office and told him that I want to be in a relationship with him, but I needed to tell him some things first. I told him I have a son, and he told me that he knows, and he loves me anyway. I was shocked, and he explained that he did a background check on me. He also told me not to call him sir, that his name is Chris. Within 5 months of dating, he proposed to me, and we started marriage preparations soon after. A day before my wedding, Mrs. Yabo, Mr. Adewale, and Mrs. Yabo's brother, Kehinde, showed up. They said they needed to talk to me in private, and it was a serious matter. I told them that whatever they have to say, they should say it before me and Chris. They kept insisting on privacy. When they realized I wasn't listening to them alone, they eventually agreed. They said that Kehinde has been married for years without children, and he was told to say the truth about the person he impregnated when he was a young boy. He said how he drugged and took advantage of me when I was 18. Chris couldn't contain his rage and he beat up Kehinde mercilessly, told him to leave the house. I begged Chris to calm down, that it's all in the past, and I have let go of the hurt. But I cannot allow Kehinde near my son. They kept pleading. I told them to leave and never return. My wedding was a memorable one, and I sealed the deal with the love of my life. Yes, truly, love exists.